Brian Powell of I Run Far here with Sage Canaday after the Lake Sonoma 50 miler, where you were third.
Yep.
Competition keeps getting better and better. You broke your course record from last year, but so did Rob Carr and Zach Miller ahead of you. I mean, what do you think led to the fast times today?
Well, Zach ran a phenomenal race. He's just off the front, maybe like 10 miles in, I think, and he held on. We were thinking he'd come back, and he just never did. And I think he had 2 or 3 minutes ahead of us pretty much most of the race. And then I was in second the last 15 miles or so until Rob caught me with a mile to go and just blew past me, and was closing too. So it was all a pretty tight spread and competitive bloodbath.
Yeah, I mean, even 4.5 miles out, there was, I think, 4 and 6 minutes. You guys behind Zach, and in the end, it was 90 seconds, 2 minutes. I don't know. Yeah, really close.
Yeah.
Were you expecting, like, it played out differently last year? Like, people were together, and then all of a sudden, you just blew off the front, as opposed to this year, like, you were coming back on Zach, and Carr came back on you. There's a lot more dynamic action.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I think it's just, deeper field, and I even wrote down the splits from last year on my arm, my splits from last year. Yeah. So I was gauging that, and I was a little slow early on. I think even at the halfway point, I was 3:02. Last year I was 3 flat.
Okay.
But I mean, I still positive split it, so it's like, how fast do you go out? And you don't feel real great, and you're basically hurting. I was hurting at least the last 30 miles, so
yeah.
I mean, I did what I could, and I tried to pace it more evenly, and I ran faster than last year. So.
And with those positive splits, I mean, it was a day where you would expect those to be rather minimal because it did stay cool almost all the day.
Yeah.
Got a little warm late, but
yeah, for sure.
What did you find you struggled with the most today out there?
I had some stomach issues a little bit. It wasn't too bad, like it wasn't debilitating, but I was off in the bushes a couple times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was pretty gross. I don't want to talk about that. So yeah, there's that. I had these ginger chews that I've never taken, but I was like, oh, I saw Rob post a picture on Twitter, the ginger chews, gin-gins, and my girlfriend Sandy Nightpaper likes the gin-gins just when we have stomach aches or something. So I was like, I'll just put those in my thing. I ate them all. So I think that kind of helped, but I still was, feeling a little off. Like I don't know, I didn't go to the bathroom enough in the morning. Something just it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
But
I ran
it wasn't
a good race.
The best.
It wasn't ideal.
No.
And then the hips always fail.
Yeah. So tell me about the hips.
Well, I mean, something's gonna fail eventually.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a muscle cramp. You're gonna start puking. You're gonna have bathroom issues probably. You're gonna be in the hurt box. So. For me, it's my hips nowadays, but I think that's pretty common.
I mean, internally, or
I don't know what Zach and Rob were feeling, but they were at another level, so it was impressive.
Are you doing anything?
He's got some serious strength.
Are you doing anything to remedy the hip issues? I mean,
I'm going to now.
Yeah.
I should do some routine, core routine, hip flexors. I stretch them quite a bit, but I just.
So it's not a lack of flexibility. It's really
my mobility is pretty bad, but. As you get older and you put in more miles and you race a lot, I think that's part of the problem. I was coming off. I've been racing a lot already this year. I need to dial back probably. I'd rather have a big block of training with a good build-up and solid mileage than just be bouncing around every 4 weeks doing an ultra.
Yeah.
It's definitely not ideal.
What was your schedule over the next couple months?
It's pretty rigorous. It's a lot like last year. I mean, I did a marathon in January. March is Tarawera, back-to-back weekends. I did a 50K at Northburn, New Zealand. That was more of an easier race, but it was still a 50K with 7,000 feet of vert.
Yeah.
And that was only 3 weeks ago. And then, I take a week down, and then I have like a week or two to have up mileage training, and then I'm tapering already. So I'm never really getting over 100 miles a week. Yeah. And then I got Transvolcania in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's a totally different race from this. So it's like, do
I
start climbing now? June's a busy month. I'm probably gonna turn down the Western States spot that I got today.
Probably.
I'm gonna turn it down.
Okay. That was a little uncommittal.
Well, I told them I'd think about it. Like it's definitely there. Like in the future. It's just like this June, I already committed to representing the U.S. at the Skyrunning World Championships, the Mont Blanc Marathon.
Same weekend, yeah.
Yeah, Killian's gonna be there. It's gonna be a good race. And then I was like, well, if I'm doing shorter mountain races in June, I might as well do Mount Washington again, and I could focus on that. Yeah. That race. I just have a passion for that race. Like probably because it suits my strengths more, but it's such a unique race. Like I want that to be a focus this June instead of doing another ultra. So June will be my short distance uphill mountain month.
Yeah.
And Mount Blanc Marathon, I mean, it's still a marathon, a mountain marathon. So that's going to be rigorous, especially coming off of Transvolcania.
Yeah.
And then the other reason I turned down Western States is just I want to get a trials qualifier in the marathon.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'm thinking Chicago in October, and I just don't think 100-mile training and marathon training go together real well. Like, I don't know anybody that's knocked it out of the park at 100 miles and then come back and run significantly under 220 in the marathon.
Mm-hmm.
Do you?
Not off hand.
I can't think of it. It's just two totally
at least not
different
mountain
events.
hundreds.
Yeah. Or even Western States.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who's done that. So it's kind of scary. I guess I'm scared of the distance too. Like,
yeah.
I melt down pretty bad at 100K sometimes, and I just couldn't imagine getting it out.
Does the 100-mile distance interest you in some nebulous future time?
Maybe next year.
Oh, really?
I mean, it depends how this year goes with ultras, and if I get the trial standard, that would definitely help.
Yeah.
So run under 218. You have to run under 218 for the trials, and that's gonna be hard to do. It's gonna be 4 weeks after the rut, which is not real specific to road marathon either. But
no.
Yeah, it's tight.
So
I like the variety.
Yeah. So Tara Ware and this were both more on the runners type ultramarathon courses.
Mm-hmm.
Switching training up and focusing on climbing.
I hope so. I don't know if I have time. Like 4 weeks. Like I'm beat up here for a week, and then I'm gonna have like 2 weeks maybe in Boulder where I could climb a little bit, and then I gotta taper
and travel.
And 30-hour trip to La Palma. I'm not complaining though. That's a great place to go. Travel's such a privilege and luxury, so be fortunate to be there. But it hurt last year climbing and the descending.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. I know you probably wanted to win, but you ran a great race today.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Fastest time on this course for you, so
thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Quick bonus question for you, Sage. You've got a film. What's it about and when's it coming out?
It's called Mutt Runner, Mountain Ultra Trail Runner. And it's kind of about how there's this evolution that I see, at least in the sport, with runners coming in from different backgrounds, younger guys or younger women too, collegiate backgrounds or just mountain backgrounds. And they're lowering course records all of a sudden. And there's all these sponsorship opportunities where they could travel around the world and, live out their dreams with the support of these companies. So it kind of analyzes that, but I also want it to be inspirational with some footage from around the world, some kind of artistic, creative shots, hopefully, that kind of, ignite the passion, because I've always been passionate about running and film. I'm trying to combine that together. So originally, I did get it successfully funded on Kickstarter.
Cool.
But I was hoping for it to come out later this spring, but I'm thinking I probably have to push it back a little later in the summer, because I'm doing it all by myself. I'm doing all the editing.
Are you doing the soundtrack?
I'm not doing the soundtrack.
Okay.
No, I'm not doing
no Sage on keyboards?
No, we won't have that. We'll have some real music. So it's a work in progress, but I really have a passion for that, and I want to share it. So
cool. Look forward to checking that out.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.